Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing good today. Today I'm joined by Josh from the True Gooner podcast, and we were just saying off air how what a tough time it is, for Arsenal, and it feels so depressing right now. But we'll be previewing tomorrow's game against Nottingham Forest, chatting a bit about the season. But Josh, thank you so much for coming back on today. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Obviously, yeah, we were saying before, other than Arsenal, man, because we know we love this club. We watch them week in, week out. We support them for many years, and it does get you, man. Seeing it, seeing what's happening this season, as we know. But other than Arsenal, I'm very well, thank you. And as I said earlier, thank you so much for having me back on the channel as well. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you back on as well. And I know it's been a while since we've spoken, and obviously, this season has been such a roller coaster. I mean, it is kind of looking back at the start of the season. I honestly thought we were going to do so good because I remember looking back at that Man City game and I thought to myself, it felt awful, not taking those 3 points, but I just felt very encouraged by our performances. And then you look at things now, it's just turned for the worst. And there's obviously so many different reasons that's happened, but what have you made of the season? What do you think's been like the biggest reason why we've struggled this season?
Yeah, listen, I think, as you rightly said, I think it's a collective of reasons. I think there's quite a few things you can put it down to. Obviously, very disappointing. I think for me, the biggest word, if I had to pick a word to describe the season, it would be regret, honestly,
Yeah.
because we've had plenty of opportunities to address certain areas. I mean, I'll start with the summer transfer window. That's what I look back on is that window into the day because
Yeah.
it simply wasn't good enough. I rated us on the kind of Flory,
Yeah.
up talent, but we spent Mika Marino as well, 70 million, both of those players combined. In really, I mean, there's other areas, there's other main priorities that we all knew going into the season that we needed, and we didn't address them. Obviously, on the we bought panic buys in Raheem Sterling on deadline day, and obviously Neto, a cup tie goalkeeper, who, has only played one game for Arsenal in Champions League. That was it. So I look back at the summer transfer window. We didn't do what's required. We know we needed a striker there. We know we needed another attacker there in terms of the whole winners to give competition for Saka, and once and even for the midfield as well. I mean, we saw Smith Rowe go to Fulham. We saw obviously Eddie Nketiah. We sold him. We sold obviously Ramsdale as well. I think we made around at least 80 million combined in terms of that amount of money there as well. And for us to not go and do anything in the summer in terms of not do what's required is what I really look back on. That's actually cost us,
Yeah.
in my opinion, this season. And I look at that, and then you look at the other window in January. How could they sit
Mm.
there? Not in our injuries as well, not in the congestion of fixtures, by the way, because we was in quite a few competitions. The Carabao Cup semis, FA Cup was in there, Champions League as towards the end of the group stages, like the group phase of that, Premier League games as well. And they look into like injuries of Saka, and you don't sign anyone. Like for me, that is just it's gonna pay the price. We will look back on it, and that's what makes me so sick about it. Really, is a feeling
Yeah.
of that because we had we could have done something. Yeah, if we would have signed players this window, and we missed out on the title, then at least you actually made the effort of actually, you know what,
Yeah.
hold our hands up with it. But the fact that we could have done something and we didn't is for me the biggest regret overall this season. And I just look at it thinking, if you can't win the Premier League, and I said this last season as well, go and win the cups. Go for the
Yeah.
cup, go FA Cup, go Carabao Cup, because it's 5 years without a trophy now. And you've been successful that season if you've gone and win a cup. I would happily take a League Cup this season, an FA Cup. I said focus on them, but we didn't. We got knocked out by Man United, an awful Man United side, in that round, in the first round once again. And the Carabao Cup, we got embarrassed by Newcastle. So all we've really got left now, which is just honestly blindly optimism and a bit of hope, is the Champions League. Because obviously Liverpool 11 points clear. So overall, I think honestly, the biggest word I'll say is probably regret for this season.
Yeah, like you said as well, like with the summer, I mean, a lot of us wanted a striker then, but then there was also the chance in January to bring one in. And with these injuries with Saka, Jesus, obviously, I know at the time we didn't know Havertz was going to get injured, but it was always a bit of a risk, a big risk to not bring anyone in. But even with Havertz in this team, we were struggling anyway. Even with Saka in the team, we were still looking predictable.
Mm.
Um, But I think these players have sort of carried the team, especially Saka, for a little while, and I think it's now, causing us a lot of problems. And then with you, with like the cup games, like I would have loved to have, gone to been at an FA Cup final,
Yeah.
a League Cup final. I thought the League Cup was our best chance really, because I think the Newcastle one's always tough, but I feel like that would have been the easier route than playing like
Yeah.
Liverpool. I mean, with Spurs, I do think we probably would have beaten Spurs, but I think Newcastle was probably the better route, and we still couldn't beat them, and they definitely deserved to be in that final. But for us, it's just so disappointing this season, because we look at the game tomorrow as well, and the pressure's off us now again. It wouldn't surprise me if we turn up
Yeah.
losing. And it's
Yeah.
so yeah, it's so tough as well, because you look at the game tomorrow, and if we win, what does it mean? Because Liverpool, there's so like many points above us, like it's crazy.
Yeah, no, 100. But you know that's what's going to happen when the pressure's. We know what it's like when Arsenal got no pressure, man. We end up starting playing football. Yeah, we end up battering teams. I've seen it year in year out, really. So yeah, I mean, listen, Liverpool. It's just so frustrating. Seeing them win as well. I'm watching the game against Man City. I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, the difference between them and Arsenal is, they have that X factors, type of players in Mohamed Salah, man. Out of nothing, this guy's been unstoppable this season. And at the end of the day, this is Arnie Slott's first season. He's came in there, and you look into their team. They've signed no one. I mean, they signed Chiesa in the summer transfer window, right? That was it. Look, they're 11 points clear, and that for me is an embarrassment. When you look into how we've been doing in terms of the recent seasons, people were saying when we was going to drop off, right? When Man City was going to drop off, that's when it's going to be our chance. And they have dropped off this season, but now you got Liverpool, and credit where credit's due to them. But what Slot done is he adapted to the certain
Yeah,
situation. He couldn't spend the money in the summer transfer window with Liverpool. Yeah, hence why they only got one player, and then he's adapted by playing Gravenberch, turning him to using what he's got, turning him into one of the best midfielders this season. So I look at that, I just think Slots came in, he's adapted with them, and it's their league. I mean, I really hate to say it. I think the league was personally done. Of course, as Arsenal fans, we always have that blindly, like, we can hope and all this, let's hope, and all this faith and optimism. But I thought the league was done personally in October, November time. And I think that's obviously shown, just because when you look into our fixtures and results this season, is the amount of unnecessary points we've dropped is embarrassing. Like, I look at the Evertons, I look at the Fulhams, I look at the Newcastles, obviously the Bournemouth. I mean, I know they're having a great season, but they beat us comfortably.
yeah,
The Villa again, West Ham again. It's just we shouldn't be dropping these. If you want to win the league title, you have to win these types of games. And when you drop
yeah.
points like that, there's no excuse you really with it. So yeah, honestly, I think it's Liverpool's, to be honest. And I think, as I said, just put all the legs in one basket for the Champions League, really.
Yeah, it's weird with the league, because I feel like there are some people that still believe it's possible, but I think for me, like, I think when we didn't bring in a striker, I thought we can't do this with the players that we have, and then Havertz gets injured, so that makes it even harder for us. So I feel like that's obviously what's made it difficult, and like you said as well, we've had so many draws in the league. Like, if we had won, quite a few of them, we would be in a better position. But I know we've not like lost in the league, but I know people say we've been unbeaten for so many games. But how many have we drawn? It's like
Like,
crazy, and you're not going to win the league, or you're not going to get that close to Liverpool, because Liverpool have actually given us a lot of chances to catch up, but I don't think we have the quality really to get that close to them. But I wanted to ask you a bit about Arteta this season, because I think fans, like we just said off air, we're tired of the same
yeah,
stuff. Like, we're never surprised anymore. Obviously people might think he needs to go at the end of the season. What's your thoughts on him now? Because I know we are a bit frustrated of finishing second again, quite a few times, and we just want to win stuff. Like you said, the cup competitions, we go out so early on in them.
yeah, 100%. Listen, for me on this manager, I think we all give him the credit because he's
Yeah.
came in and he's got Arsenal back up there, can beat him where we should be. You know, look, to compete for league titles. What you know, we're Arsenal Football Club. We should be doing that. And obviously, we know we've been in a mess before he came in. You know, we was in a very bad position, and it took him quite a while to get going, if you remember, because we was
Yeah,
finishing. I mean, he had us in 15th at one point. But you know, he's been backed fully. You know, he's been given the money. He's had his own players now. This is his home. This is his squad that he's chosen by design. And, you know, I think that's clear. He's one of these. You know, majority of these players is Arteta's, and of course Edu as well. You know, they are all a part of it for sure. So he's got his own team. He's got his own tools now, and yes, he has got us back up there competing. But the big factor for me, the big point I look with this manager, is can he take Arsenal over the line? And for me,
yeah,
he proved that he can't do that. You
yeah,
know, multiple seasons now when when it comes to crunch time with his manager, when it comes to these big moments when the pressure's really on to deliver a bit of silverware to you know to win the Premier League title, for example, he's failed at the end of the day. Yeah, it's all well and good getting us back up there competing, but I mean, a lot of people come and I hear it when they call him a Brendan Rodgers type, sort of when Rodgers at
yeah,
Liverpool. You know, he got them to a good point. He got them always. You know, we remember that season where they was very close to winning the Premier League title, but he just couldn't get them to that finish line. And they got Klopp in, and then look what happened after that. And you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, if we get rid of Arteta, then we're going to start declining. We're going to start digressing. Like apparently, we're going to, you know, turn into absolute trash." No, that's not. I don't see that happening. You know, I don't see that happening because I look at, you know, Liverpool, for example. I mean, Liverpool's a perfect example this season. Nobody knew really that much about Arne Slot. Yeah.
yeah,
And people were saying, oh, they're going to fall off when Klopp leaves and all that. Klopp's left. And look at them this season, people. So I just think it's a real sort of, I think it's just an excuse to really, you know, keep this guy in again because I know this guy is fully backed by the Cronkies. You know,
yeah,
I think we saw the contract extension that he got given, which I disagree with completely. I think,
yeah,
listen, this guy needs to show something in terms of success at Arsenal, yeah, because it's all well and good. People are not really going to remember finishing runners up year in, year out, yeah. There's a reason why we are the third biggest club in England, sorry, behind obviously you got Liverpool, Man United, and
yeah,
Arsenal, top three biggest clubs in England. We're the biggest club in London based on history, and the reason how that's counted is on trophies. And the fact that he's gone 5 years without winning a trophy, and you know that is for me that is unacceptable.
yeah,
If you would have won a cup this season, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, yeah, gone for. That's why I saw annoyed when we got knocked out of them. I would have sat there and said, you know what, fair play. You know, you've won a trophy, you've been successful, you get another season for me. But you know, people seem to have this. Oh, but all he needs is a striker. But he's had opportunities to
yeah,
sign strikers. Yeah, he's had opportunities in transfer windows to get his own players in. Half some of his signings have been the wrong types of signings, and he's got a few right. Of course, he's got a few
yeah,
right, but there's also been a few that are wrong. So at the end of the day, with it, I just don't think he's that guy to take us over to that next level. I think when it comes to big games as well, I mean, you see us, you see us when we play in Europe as well. It's not good enough in Europe. You know, when we come against the last season against Bayern Munich, that was a really poor Bayern Munich side, and we didn't get over the line in that game. You know, so I just feel like Premier League, he's shown he can't do it. He's got us a very good point. I just think we needed someone with a bit of who's
yeah.
been there and done it. You know, a bit of experience, a bit of in terms of who's a winner at the end of the day, um, to take us in and get us over the line. In my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because I think for me, like at the end of last season, I thought to myself, you know what, if we bring in the right players in the summer, we could have, you know, a really good season with the league or with the cup competitions. And I felt very supportive of Arteta at that point. And then this season came, and I do appreciate the injuries, you know, on all on him. I know Saka's been overplayed. Certain players have, you know, been overplayed, which he could sort of do better. But I felt like, you know, there's not much he could have done. But with the window, like he had, like you said, he's had the opportunity to bring in a striker. He's been here for a while, and you know, obviously the Kron case, that's another discussion, and you know, but they have given him money, and that's what you can say about the Kron case. They have actually gave Arteta
Yeah.
some money, and Arteta's decided, you know, like you said, he's brought in some good players. You can't deny that, but he's sort of decided to bring in the Sterlings. I mean,
Mm,
Mourinho, I think, is going to be a good player in time, but like Arteta has decided to bring in these players which haven't been particularly great. I mean, Sterling's not really been great. And like you said, we are sort of making those panic buy decisions. And I just feel like you said, he's been here for a while and he's been given a lot of time. And I think whatever we think, I just still think he's going to be here for a very long time. And I am with you. I feel like, I mean, at the end of the season, I feel like, say, hypothetically, he left, I would feel like that probably would be the right thing. Just because, like you said, silverware, we're at the point now where we're not even able to get to like a League Cup final, and
Yeah.
we're not asking you every year to win league titles, but at the same
Mm.
time, in the cup competitions, like the way we United knocked us out. I mean, they've been very poor this season and they were rubbish in that game, but it's just things like that that's really disappointing. And as we mentioned, like with the Newcastle game, the second leg, I thought to myself, the first leg, what's happened has happened, put it behind us.
Yeah.
Um, and I just didn't feel the players for me didn't feel up for that game, like that occasion. And I also think like it is on them as well, not just the manager, but they should feel ready. And I feel like can Arteta, sort of encourage the players, and I just don't know if he can really, at half time and stuff. I'm
Mm.
not, I personally am with you, I'm not completely convinced right now that with any silverware, he can get us there, which is a shame because we have gotten quite close with him over the past few years, and I just feel like maybe we've hit a point now where, like you said, with Brendan Rodgers, that's the limit, and they just can't take us that step further.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I also just think for me, I think you said it perfectly there. Like with him, even we can all have these sort of opinions on what we think of the manager, and I know it's a very divided topic. So I know a lot of people still
Yeah,
really back this guy, which is it's their opinion, of course. But my opinion is I just don't think the guy's good enough for Arsenal anymore. I don't think he's that guy to take us over the line to the big major honours, right? But even forget all of that. As you said right there, he's not going anywhere. This is, and that's the bigger problem you got to look at. It's not just all on this manager. Yeah, like yes, in terms of on the pitch and some of the decision making and his game management and talent ID and as you said in terms of like the overplaying a few players as well in terms of the injuries. I think you've got to partly put a bit of blame on that as well. And yeah, I know it doesn't really help the situation with how we're doing this season, but it's not all on this manager. It's higher
yeah,
up than that. With the Cronkies, yes, they've gave the money, but that ambition tells me they're not ambitious enough to get us, Premier League and Champions League. Because if they were, they would not have gave him that new contract extension. And this all tells me that this manager, for me, another 3 years, all Cronkies care about, in my opinion, is Champions League. If we get
yeah,
top
top
four,
four,
top five
yeah,
this season, then that's what they acceptable. Because it was like that when we had Wenger as well. Yeah, a lot of people wanted Wenger out because this guy was getting top four every single. I know he didn't towards his last couple of
yeah,
seasons, but this guy was getting top four every single season. This guy had us competing up there. The problem is that what we're saying right now, he couldn't get us the Premier League. We went 21. Well, we last time we won the Premier League was obviously the Invincible season, which was years and
yeah,
years ago under Wenger. He wasn't getting us Premier Leagues. He wasn't getting us Champions Leagues, right? Yes, he was competing, but a lot of people wanted him out for that. But the Cronkies kept him until obviously, in the end, in that season. But the end of the day, it's going to be very similar with Arteta because I feel like if they were to sack him, it will look so bad on them as well because
yeah,
they've hyped him up to be this next big thing. Yeah, with all the buzzwords, with all the processes, with all the projects, the phases now that we're hearing, and the money that they gave him. And let's not forget as well, he's the second highest paid manager in world football. Yeah, that's a lot to give a guy who obviously I know he used to play for Arsenal, but a manager that had zero experience when he first got the job. He's learning on the job. So at the end of the day, is for me, I look more at the Cronkies that
yeah,
they're not ambitious enough, yeah, and they're in charge. I mean, this and also the board as well. The sporting director situation.
yeah.
It just
That's a
makes me,
mess. Yeah,
yeah, it's a whole entire mess. It makes you think, why the hell did Edu leave? Is it because Arteta's got a bit more authority over him? Is it because similar to how when Wenger was at Arsenal, he ran everything effectively? Is that what's happening with Arteta? It seems like. Why did Edu suddenly leave? It's just
it's a bit strange, isn't it? That
yeah.
because I personally think that maybe he wanted more of a say in things, possibly because I think when he announced he left, I think we're all quite surprised, and I don't think Arteta really said much about it. And I think if he was leaving because he wanted to just do something different, I'm sure Arteta would have spoken on that. But it all felt a bit kind of strange. But yeah, I think it's hard as well because, as we mentioned with Wenger, even I think with him winning like trophies, that's obviously that gave him more time, which I think is fair enough. And I think with Arteta, like you said, with the contract extensions and all of that, I feel like you have to earn that. Like you have to, I don't know whether that's winning trophies, whether yeah, I think you have to earn that by winning stuff and by
Yeah,
having success because listen, that FA Cup at the time was great. And though in the league we weren't great, but you think by then we'd have won more stuff. And I just feel like it's just getting to a point now where I feel like this is going to happen again next season. Obviously, it does depend on who we sort of bring in, but there's also that worry now about Saliba. Is he going to go to Madrid? Like, how
yeah,
are we going to keep these players now? And I feel like this is sort of the mess we're in now, and it's going to be a shame if Saliba or Gabriel or both of them eventually leave because I think we know how good they are. I know they're still both young as well, but we're just for me we're in a bit of a mess at the moment, and I feel like everyone, like you said, I do think everyone is to blame. I think, like you said, you can't just say one person. I think it's
mm,
I think a lot of I think the players obviously we do want them to step up more, but I think at the same time we know what their limits are. We couldn't expect Marino to score every game if he's playing as a striker. We can't expect Havertz to score like 20 goals or how many because we know he's not done that and we just know what he can do. So I feel like the players now. I mean, going into the game tomorrow, as fans, we're probably a bit deflated. But how do you think the players are feeling? Because we sort of don't really have anything to play for in the league. I know Arteta is still, having the faith, and I think he's got to in this position. But if you were a player, like, I would be thinking, it's very unlikely we're not going to win the league now.
yeah. I agree. Listen. I feel like it's going to be no pressure in it. As we said earlier on. And that we're putting it up to winning tomorrow. About 3-0. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, it's like that's what happens when no pressure Arsenal and we actually turn up. So yeah, but I agree. Like I feel like
yeah,
tomorrow's game, this game for me, Forest are flying this season. Honestly, it's been fair play to them. This is Nuno Espirito Santo. Last season they was fighting relegation, and the fact that now this season. And with the squad as well, the players that are deemed not good enough. I mean, you got Anthony Alanga doing really well. Hudson Odoi doing really well this season. Chris Wood, like 18 goals this season for Nottingham Forest. This guy's flying for them, man. And they play some really nice and they score goals as well. That's the thing that worries me for tomorrow's game is we can't score obviously like right now. Even a few times, I mean, defensively, I mean, it's the past couple of games, it's looked a bit shaky. But
yeah.
even I watched the Newcastle game when they lost 4-3. They still, and Fulham as well. They still score goals, man. And that's what really rises me as well. Going away tomorrow under the lights, yeah. Even in away at Forest, I think we've beaten them 1 out of 3, 4 times at the City ground as well. If you think back to the FA Cups that we lost both of them, if you think back to the one where we lost 1-0, when we wore that obviously when we had that black kit and when we was like 8 points clear that season. So, and I know we beat them last season 2-1, but that was a really, really tough game. So they're going to definitely give us a really good game. Let's not forget as well, they've got a lot to play for, man.
Yeah.
If they beat us, then they're 3 points behind us, just like that. So if we're not careful, we could drop from second place to third, and then
That's yeah.
yeah,
That's weird to think. It's crazy.
yeah, it is because at the end of the day, this is not in the Forest we're talking about. With all due respect to not in the Forest, they have the history, of course they do, but they was fighting relegation last season. Now they're, Nuno's came in. Yeah, he's with the squad he's got as well. When he's 3 points behind us if they beat us obviously tomorrow. So it's going to be a very, very tough game. And people, I mean, the only way I see Arsenal scoring really, yeah, is from set pieces. But even the set pieces recently have dried up as well.
I know we've not been doing much as well. And also, I do really feel for Trossard at the moment because I feel like he might play as a striker tomorrow, but he's sort of on the wing and no one's there. Like the other game, I mean, we've all seen the Odegaard clip, but no one's sort of helping him, and I feel like it's going to be tough to sort of see. I don't know what lineup Arteta's going to pick. I mean, I think Marino, it was he came on, did his job. Maybe he's better coming on off the bench. It's so tough, and like you said, I think I'm not confident we're gonna get those 3 points. I mean, I think because we're away makes it a lot more difficult. Um, but I think it's yeah, I just don't have a lot of optimism. Like you said, it's how we're gonna score that's our concern. I mean, I look at things like free kicks, I just never feel like we do much with it. Like if it's a short corner, it's just very repetitive, and I think well, I think we'll need a miracle tomorrow. But what lineup do you think Arteta might put out? Because with the striker thing, I'll be honest, I just don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, really, man. I mean, we know this manager, has these things, doesn't he, of doing, these lineups and doing all this inverted stuff all the time. And honestly, I just want him to scrap it, man. Like, try something different.
Yeah,
And I know people say, "Oh, but he put Marino up front, nice one." I mean, I agree with you on it off the bench, like against Leicester.
yeah,
We were awful against Leicester, but Marino, fair play to him. He's off the bench. Leicester didn't expect that. He came out of nowhere and he got himself a brace. That him starting the game against West Ham. I mean, I think they played a back, sort of like a back four, three centre backs on the pitch. They sussed it out. So
yeah,
I feel like maybe have Marino as a secret weapon off the bench, like we did against Leicester, and if it happens again. But what I mean by try something different is like in terms of not in terms of like the system sort of thing, because look, what I would do obviously for me is going to be Rory in goal. Back four, I'd give Timber a rest for this game. I
yeah,
feel like Timber is not because of in terms of as a player. I think he's actually had a really good season. I just think we've got to manage him because we effectively majority of our players had an injury this season. Timber hasn't. Yeah, and what we don't want is with the ACL injury, he's done so well. I think coming back from the ACL injury, we don't want to break him down. Yeah, because if he does, then it could really be affected. Like really affect him. So I bring in Ben White. I was actually pretty impressed with Ben White when he came
yeah.
back on. I mean, he against West Ham, he had a little cameo. He had that shot as well. I mean, he almost scored and got some.
Yeah, I thought that was quite good actually for him to go for that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, and what Ben White will give you is he's. I think he's a bit more, not in terms of like inverting what Tim does. He's a bit more direct going forward, and I think overlapping. He can cross the ball as well. Defensively, he's really solid. And for me, I'm going to bring Ben White at right back. I think this guy deserves to get
Yeah,
started. Two centre backs will obviously be Gabriel and Saliba as always. And left back, obviously Lewis Skelly, as we know, suspended. I don't want to see Calaflori there.
yeah. He had quite a poor game.
Yeah, I mean, especially on that goal as well against Wan-Bissaka, just not good enough. And listen, look, I love Calaflori. I watch him all the time when he plays for Italy as well. He's a centre back at the end of the day. He's not a left back. He can do. He's played there a few occasions, but you saw him in the Euros. When he plays for Italy, when he was at the start of his career, he's a centre back at the end of the day.
Yeah,
He cannot play left back role. So the show up there for a reason. Tierney at left back for me all day long.
yeah.
And
I'd
I
love
feel
to
like
see that.
yeah, I feel like Tierney and Ben White, left back and right back, both of them will actually overlap. Both of them can cross the football as well. Both of them will give option to our winners as well, which we desperately need in the attack. So I just think on that basis going forward, Tierney's got to be there at left back for me all day long. Midfield obviously is going to be. I mean, we don't really have anything else in terms of Odegaard there. I think he should be dropped, but we can't
Yeah,
have anything else there. Odegaard, I think you and I both know he's been a shadow of himself, man. I don't know what's happened to this guy this season. He's been awful, and you're the captain of Arsenal Football Club, and as you said earlier with that clip as well, he just doesn't look like he's got any confidence in him. He just doesn't
yeah.
look like he's fired up for it, does he? This season, I just don't see it with Odegaard at all. Maybe it is the injury that he had with the ankle injury, like before international break, but even so, it's just like we can't drop him because we have no one else there. Really.
Yeah,
So,
and it's like the free kicks as well. Like
yeah.
usually he would go for it, and he's like, I just don't think, like you said, he believes in himself that he can score. It's a shame, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just on that free kick, I think you made a great point. I honestly can't remember the last time from a free kick we actually scored a direct free kick. I think it's actually Odegaard's against Burnley, which was all the way in 2021.
That was ages ago.
That's
Honestly,
years ago, yeah. So that's another thing that we need to start improving. But yeah, I mean, Partey will be in there. I've actually been so impressed with him this season. I think he's been player of the
yeah,
season, in my honest opinion. I think he's been superb. And then it's going to be probably Declan Rice. I mean, Rice again, just not a great game against West Ham. I know it's his former club, but just wasn't good enough. I mean, he got hooked at half time. No, not sorry, hooked in like 55th minute or whatever
yeah,
as well. And then you saw Arteta. plays Zinchenko for the first time in number 8. It's only took him 3 years, and believe it or not, that's his actual position, guys.
Do you know what? It's ridiculous. It's just crazy because we know he's a much better attacker than he is a defender, and I just don't know why he's waited till now. He should have done it ages ago.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you see him when he plays for Ukraine in there, and I guarantee if Zinchenko goes and leaves, which he probably is going to leave in the summer,
Yeah,
if he goes to Borussia Dortmund, if he goes to wherever he's going to go, they'll play him in the midfield, and he will start playing really well in the midfield, and people will be like, "Oh no, we should have played him in midfield after all that time," because believe it or not, he is a midfielder. He's clearly not a left back.
yeah,
So, but yeah, it's going to be Rice, Pite, Odegaard in there, and then honestly, the front three could it be anything, couldn't it? I mean, oh my days, Mika Marino, what do you got? As I said, I think have him on the bench.
yeah,
Just if we need a goal, he can come and give something different up front. So it's most likely going to be Trossard again. I think Trossard down the middle,
yeah,
Sterling, and then obviously 1 year. I mean, 1 year he's done so well this season. But you can't just put it all. I mean, that West Ham game show it as well. You can't just rely on that 70-year-old kid to get you out of jail. Yeah. We know how talented, how quality the guy is, but you can't expect him to do this all on his own, man, as well.
yeah,
And you got Trossard. I mean, Trossard's definitely fallen off a cliff this season. When he's on it, but he's not been playing well. And then obviously Sterling, it's just laughable. Sterling, isn't it? To be honest with you, what do we expect, people, when we sign him in the summer? But why not go to the academy, get a natural striker in there, because it can't be any worse than what we got. What have we honestly got to lose now?
yeah. We've literally got nothing.
We've got nothing to lose. We're 11 points behind Liverpool. Yeah, for me, go to the youth academy. You have that Butler, Ollie Edgy guy on the bench, sit on the bench. Give this guy an opportunity, man. He's a natural striker. Yeah, I think he's like 21, 22 years of age. So a bit more older than a Wanyeri or like a Skelly.
Yeah.
But he's had a few loan deals in League in League One, League Two. So these are tough leagues that can toughen you up. I'll give him the opportunity, man. Honestly, what have we got to lose? He's a natural striker. So he might as well. But honestly, I think he'll sit with Trossard and Wanyeri for that front three.
Yeah, I think I also look back on a lot of things as well. I mean, I know this one would have been a risk, but someone like Balogun at the time, I thought
Yeah.
I did actually want to keep him. Actually, I know the money situation, we needed money, but I just feel like as well, like look at Smith Rowe as well. I know Smith Rowe doesn't score every game, but you can see he's doing well, and I just feel like it's a shame of some of these players that we've let go that we could have really have done with now. And it's so hard because I agree with you that the lineup. I think Trossard up top is probably the best option because I think in the West Ham game, I just felt like he was sort of the one trying to do stuff, but there was no one really there. But I feel like if he's as a striker, if he's in the box, he can hopefully help us. But I think with Sterling, I mean, I don't know. I don't really expect much of him now because he had that performance the other day and it was just so poor from him. And he's much more experienced than Ranieri, and Ranieri for me just showed how much better he is. But as we know, these players need to step up for this game. I mean, we speak about this, but we could end up, being fourth or dropping out. We don't know. Like if we lose this, we could go on a bad run. So I feel like at this moment we just have to maintain where we are, which isn't exciting. But it's going to be tough tomorrow, definitely, and it's not a game that I'm feeling confident for. But as you mentioned, the pressure's off us, so it would surprise. You never know with Arsenal. But what is your score prediction going into the game?
It's honestly one of those ones, man. Like, I don't want to. I never go against my team, like in terms of predicting us to lose or anything like that. But it's one of those ones. I would not be surprised if we came out tomorrow and we were to, lose the game comfortably, 2-0 to Forest or 2-1 to Forest. I would not be surprised. If we draw as well, I'll not be surprised. I'm just because I'm trying to bit of blind optimism. I'm going to back us with 2. I'm going 2-1 to Arsenal. I just feel like set pieces will happen. I feel like Gabriel will step up from a header. And then maybe like a Tierney volley, man. That'd be amazing. But yeah, honestly, this is the first time in a very long time I've came into an Arsenal game where I just feel so sort of dejected, so unconfident that we're gonna actually, not get anything out of this game because Forest are flying. They play some brilliant football. They score goals. If we're not careful, it could be a very long night. It could be a very long night, especially with our attacking situation right
Yeah.
now. The way how we are playing, everything about it is just going really, really bad this season. So I'm going to sit on the fence and go 2-1 to Arsenal, but I would not be surprised if we actually end up losing the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's so hard because I think on the other hand, the pressures, off us so we could win, but I also think, as you've mentioned, it's just going to be hard to see us score or I mean whatever the lineup is, I think we'll have an idea if he makes a few changes, but I think it is going to be tough because as we mentioned, we don't really have a striker and we're sort of relying on, like I said, like Savaneri, who is so young, and we don't really want to sort of wear him out too much, as he's just so young and he's just started playing in the team. But yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm with you. I'm sort of thinking 1-1, 2 on Arsenal. I think
Yeah.
I do hope it is a close one in the sense that it would be awful if they did, really beat us in such a humiliating way because you just never know. They're so good and they're definitely exciting to watch. But I definitely think they'll want to get a win today to, tomorrow to get back on track. And like you said, if they could finish second this season, then I think that would be incredible. I mean, finishing third for them would also be incredible. But
Yeah.
like you said, they're so close to us now, and they could overtake us, which is quite weird to think. But yeah, the game tomorrow, we'll just have to see what happens. But I just hope we can get a positive result, even though the league feels done at the moment. But Josh, it's been absolutely lovely to have you on my channel today, and thank you for coming on. And do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, firstly, so thank you so much for having me back on the channel again. Really, really enjoyed it, and yeah, really appreciate you invite me back on. But yeah, guys, you can find me at True Gooner. I'm on the road to 10. I'm very close to actually 10,000 subscribers. So yeah, I've been doing it for around 3-4 years now. Daily, every single day content, Arsenal content. We do just pretty much do everything. Arsenal news, previews, match reactions, watch-alongs, podcasts as well. I get people like Soph on the channel, different Arsenal fans. Even like when we play different teams as well. I love to do opposition previews and talk about other teams when they play Arsenal. So all of that, you guys can find me at True Gooner. That's everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and X as well is all True Gooner. So yeah, thank you very much once again, Soph, and yeah, hopefully we don't get embarrassed tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it'll be a good one tomorrow. But yeah, please do subscribe to Josh's channel, check out his stuff, and I hope you all that are watching this back to enjoy it. Hopefully, we'll get a nice win. It'd be nice if you could see some exciting football, but I'm not really convinced that will happen. But yeah, big up to all of you that will watch this. I hope you have enjoyed it. As I said, do subscribe to Josh's channel, do subscribe here, do like this video, and I'll see you all very soon.